everyone, it's Jake's Metal Chat, and welcome to the second episode of my Metal Vault, where I will be exploring and showing you my favorite albums within heavy metal, thrash metal, death metal, black metal, doom metal, sludge metal, folk metal from the 1980s and 90s, you name it, all the great stuff. And this album that I will be showing you in this episode is from the year I was born, 1991, which this band features members such as Lars Rosenberg from Entombed and various other bands, along with Mathieu of Dismember, Carnage, and various other bands. He's not on this album that I'll be showing you. And the two that are Christopher of Therion and one of the ex-members of Therion, Pietro, I think that's how you say it, Piotr. I might have said his name wrong, so I do apologize. This was a 3-piece on this album, but they have been a 5-piece in the band when I looked up footage on YouTube, which had Mathieu on vocals. And I think Therion were on that same bill. I have to look up that footage again. But this band formed in 1988 and disbanded in 1995. And if you got to see him back in the day, then you're lucky to see him, because I would love to have seen these guys. And I'm surprised and I'm glad as well that I own this album, because I never thought I would own it ever. It was at Black City Records, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to pick it up. Don't care how much it costs, just picked it up, and it's been in my collection ever since. Of course, I am talking about Carbonized with their debut album. Very underrated album, For the Security. And when I got this, it had a stick on it saying first pressing, which I have taken it off now, but watch my underground Swedish metal releases, my favorite underground metal releases, the Swedish episode, which I did have the sticker there. But I will show you the sticker anyway. Again, it's right there. It was limited to 500. And of course, this album was recorded. I'll get the book out anyway. Sometimes it will glare. Right there. A little thing on the back. Picture of the band. Where it was recorded, of course, at the legendary Sunlight Studios. Various Swedish death metal bands. And also various other bands from outside of Sweden have gone to it. Of course, Dark Throne doing Soulside Journey. This, of course, recorded at Sunlight Studios in Stockholm, Sweden, 1991, January. This came out in December of the same year. Of course, there and there. I don't know if Sunlight Studios is still around. If it is, comment down below and tell me, because I would love to get a band that I'm in to record there, you know, because it'd be just one hell of an experience. Of course, we've got the CD with the tracks on there. Of course, released by Thrash Records. I don't think they're going anymore, but they released a lot of stuff at the time. And I can have a look right now. No, they haven't been a label for a very long time, but these guys did start in 1989. And they were one of many bands on there. Of course, you got bands like Excruciate, which, of course, Christopher, who's on this album, who's in Therion, was also in Excruciate. Of course, Wombbath and Revenant, Old Funeral, Epitaph, Afflicted, and Sentenced. Just to name a few. Various different death metal bands on there, and this is one of many. For anyone not familiar with Carbonized, what sort of stuff do you get with this? Well, death metal on the Metallic plays are classed as progressive death metal. I can see why it's a bit aggressive on some of the songs. Like you got songs like Carbonized, which is how I found out about these guys. I just listened to that song and thought, this is just ridiculous. Reflections of the Dark. I think that's is it, yeah. Okay, I didn't want to think it's called Reflections of the Dark Third Eye. That's okay, just wanted to be sure. Of course, the title track for the Security. Because you can see the songs there. So the first track was the first one I ever heard by the band. The whole album itself is just sheer underground Swedish death metal goodness. It's very grindy as well. So very progressive, grindy death metal. You might have your own little opinion. You might have your own opinion on it as to what it is. Is even more death metal, more death metal grindcore, or what I said, progressive death grind, or very progressive death metal with that hint of grindcore in there. And it's just an album which I don't know how many metal YouTubers have talked about this album. I haven't seen it in very many collection videos. There's probably some, maybe. I was on one of his live streams, the Death Metal Podcast. I think he's showing this. I'm not entirely sure. Dude, if you're watching this, comment down below and let me know if you have. Well, of course, there'll be like that chat box thing that you can chat with if I did a premiere of this. Sometimes I do premiere, sometimes I won't. But yeah, next one I will put a premiere up for the next episode, which will be this Saturday coming. I mean, the cover, I'm not sure who did the cover. Hang on. The cover art was done by someone named, not sure how you say that. It's Pearl, but it's P-A with the 2 dots. Any of my Swedish followers, you can help me there because my pronunciations are just atrocious. But he only did cover art for this one and a band called Serpent, which I have heard of, and it is a doom metal band. And it was for their 1996 album In the Garden of Serpent. But for fans of, of death metal, Swedish death metal, fast, aggressive, in your face, absolute punching you in the gut, fast, intense death metal, this is one for you. And I was happy that I found this when I went to Black City Records because it was there. I saw it and I thought, I'm not going to let this slide. I'm not going to let someone pick this up and I end up regretting it. I'm like, damn, I wish I had it. Because since I started getting into death metal and started getting into more Swedish bands, and I heard this for the first time ever, this would have been around 2009, 2010 maybe. And it was just there. I just remember the cover, which is very noir in a way. Maybe that's just me. Maybe someone else would think it's something else. But in a way, kind of noir with the car there. The buildings in the background sort of remind me of Candyman. Like the Kabini. I'm not going to be able to say it. The apartment buildings in Candyman. I'll probably remember how to say it later on and then realize I'm not saying it on here. But yeah, it's sort of got that noir feel with that mix of Candyman in there. And this is before Candyman was even out because that came out a year later. But it's giving me that vibe. Obviously, I'm showing off my love for horror. Of course, noir. But yeah, I don't know how many people talked about this on their videos, and I hope there's quite a few. I'm going to have a look a bit later after I've recorded this. But just for all death metal fans out there, this definitely, you need this for your collection. It's, well, of course, I got an original pressing here, so this is gonna be very hard to find unless you got like Discogs and your Discogs, sorry, and you're gonna be paying a fortune. Luckily, I got out one of my all-time favorite shops. I still yet to go to London for Crypt of the Wizard, which I know he will have a lot of underground stuff like this, because I'm trying to find, the more underground rare albums such as this. Of course, I have this, and I have Excruciate Passage of Life and Epitaph Seeming Salvation, and those are rare ones to find as well. I know Excruciate did a split, and I think they did a split with one or two bands. No, they did. Well, they did a split with Sentence and two other bands, which I'm not too familiar with. But yeah, so they have done a split with Sentence. Great finish. Death metal, death doom. Went down the gothic route as well, and still a fantastic band. Along with these guys and various other bands. So to conclude this, if you're fans of, let's say like Repulsion and Napalm Death and Carcass, in a way, like Napalm Death, Carcass, Repulsion, trying to think of other bands that are fast and aggressive. Those are like three of them, three fast aggressive bands, two of them being British bands, one being American. But if you're into your fast, intense metal, be it death metal, thrash metal, your hardcore punk and your cross punk and anything fast and aggressive, and you also like things that are progressive as well, this would be one for you. This will be one for you. So I know there's going to be a lot of you out there who are watching. Is like, yeah, I know this album. I got it back in the day. I remember listening to it back in the day. I remember getting it. I still have it. And others might, I used to own it. I got rid of it now, and probably kicking themselves in the butt for it. And there's going to be a lot of you out there like, I don't know this band. Like from my last video, no one knew about Bulldozer. And it's a good thing that I'm doing this episode. And it's a good thing there's a lot of other metal YouTubers out there that will show albums that you're not too familiar with, because there's someone like, I know the band, but I'm not too familiar with that album. I'm going to check it out. Love that album. Gonna try and find it either at a festival or at my favorite record shop, which is where I found this. Again, I found that there and various others. So once again, this is Carbonized and full of security. Absolutely aggressive, fast, in-your-face death metal. And there's going to be a lot more of this in later episodes of my Metal Vault. And of course, I am going to have a look around here on YouTube and see which one of my other fellow metal YouTubers has talked about this so far. Because I know there's going to be a lot of you watching this who are like, yeah, I love this album. And probably like, I haven't shown it yet. Or it's going to be a lot of you like, I don't have it or used to have it. But for anyone who listened to this back in the day, comment down below and tell me what your experience of this band was, and even those who saw these guys back in the day, before and when this album was released. I'd love to know your thoughts on it, thoughts on the band. What was your first initial impression of what they were doing back in the day? Because I would have loved to have seen that band back in the day. but I have seen Dismember and I've seen Entombed, Entombed AD, but still seen of a rendition, not a rendition, but another band that Lars was in, that not Lars Rosenberg, of course, LG Petrov, and got to see a bunch of Swedish bands when I was over there in 2019 for Scandinavia Death Fest. And what would have been cool is when I'm thinking about it, if this band got back together and just did a set which was nothing but this album. I know they released 2 others, and I haven't listened to those 2 yet. This is the only one I've heard so far, but I will listen to the others. Because I keep saying to myself, I'm going to check out the other albums, but then I find something else new, and I'm like, and that takes up pretty much a lot of my time because I just listen to it over and over again. But I'll definitely be putting this back on again because it's absolutely killer. So, Carbonized for the Security. If you have it, put it back on and relive that time. Anyone brand new to this album, just get on YouTube or Spotify, whatever you use, and play this album. It's absolutely mental. It's killer, absolute, brilliant underground Swedish death metal. And that is the end of another episode of My Metal Vault. Of course, I have another one coming up this Saturday coming, and of course, another one Tuesday and Saturday. Pretty much every Tuesday and Saturday, I will have another episode of My Metal Vault. I got a chat coming up also Tuesday, and I'm going to leave in the community page on my channel what my schedules are, what I got coming up, so people know that I'm doing videos when or as and when I can do them, because sometimes I can be busy going out to gigs or meeting up with mates or something, but yeah, gonna be doing a lot more of these. And of course, I got another episode of my favorite death metal albums literally tomorrow, so gonna try and get up early, record that and schedule it so that you know when it's going to hit here on YouTube. And just thinking about it, for the I don't know what I was going to say, but I was thinking, well, I was going to say maybe you guys can tell me your favorite albums from your collection down below, and of course I'm picking my own favorites for this series. Yeah, I have to apologize. I came down with a bit of a splot nose and a sore throat, but I think it's getting a little bit better now, but a little bit of a headache. So if I was a bit all over the place and not saying very much, then that's probably why. But just to recap, another Metal Vault on Saturday, my favorite death metal albums tomorrow, and of course another Wednesday. I got a interview on Tuesday. I might do that live. I don't know yet. I'll put in the community. I'll just maybe it'll be live, maybe it might not be, but unless you want to see the new chat that I'm doing next Tuesday live, then down in the comments below. The band will be in the comments below where you can find out about them, where you can listen to their music. And if you're lucky enough to find a copy of this CD, then get it, unless it's like really too much to buy, then maybe like, nah, I don't want to pay that much. But if you still have it in your collection, don't get rid of it. Just don't get rid of it. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. Just a band I think got overlooked quite a lot. I think got overlooked because obviously you had bands like Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel and Obituary and so many big bands that came out. Even some of the bands are here, like Massacre, Demolition Hammer, Grave, Entombed, Dismember. You know, so many different amazing death metal bands. You know, I can go on forever. So, before I ramble on too much, thank you very much for checking out this other episode. Sort of was a bit all over the place. I tend to be like that anyway. The next episode will be a band that I just briefly mentioned here, so do look out for that. And I think in the future, some videos I'll do, I will premiere them. But yeah, that's about it. Keep the banner metal out high. I'll be back tomorrow with my favorite death metal albums. I have 9 more to show you in my next episode, and so on. Another Metal Vault on Saturday, and then again on Tuesday, and then the interview that same day. And I have so much going on. It's just so much going on, and I've just obviously I looked at my subscribers, and it's gone up again to about 513. So thank you very much. Anyway, that'll let you crack on with your day, evening, wherever you're in the world. Again, keep the banner metal held high, and I'll see you all in the next one.